For those who know me, you know that I love orange watches. In fact, I love orange on orange. I've had a few watches in the past, and this is a watch that was released back in the day, around the 1960s I believe. And Nivada Grenchen had found 10 original dials and movements, new old stock, and assembled 10 watches. And they sold out straight away. But the price was expensive. What they've done now, they've basically reintroduced the watch. But this time, they've recreated those dials and made them available at not the exorbitant price which the limited edition was fetching. So today I want to get close and personal with this watch. It's been nicknamed the Baby Panerai, and for obvious reasons. Now, first thing I've got to say, guys, is I love orange. I absolutely love orange as a colour on watches. I think it's a fun, vibrant colour, very 70s colour, and I find a lot of use for watches in this colour tone, especially in summer. Now, this particular watch is quite an interesting piece because although I like it, there's really two questions I need to ask Nivada Grenchen and say, just why? Because the watch is lovely. The detail surprised me. There's elements in this watch which I didn't expect. I thought it was just a two-dimensional watch, but it's more than that. One of the gripes that I'm going to mention about this review, I really am disappointed they went down that direction, but it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. It's a design element, and I really feel that the watch would have benefited with what their website says that this watch is spec'd as, but it's not. And that's been a bit of a niggle for me throughout the week. Nonetheless, you saw the pop-up. Nivada Grenchen has sponsored this video, so I will of course leave a link in the description section. If this watch interests you, or if any of their watches interest you, feel free, check them out, get on their website. Now, diving into the specs of this watch, I measure a case diameter of 38.5 with a case height of 12.9. The lug to lug is 46.9 and a lug width of 20. Now, that crown is a 6.3mm signed screw down crown. The watch offers 1000 meters of water resistance. On the total weight on the vulcanized rubber strap, I measure in at exactly 105 grams. Now, to my eyes, guys, that's an absolute beauty. I love what I'm looking at here. It's so retro, so 70s. The orange on orange is, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's absolutely superb. That looks amazing in my eyes. So the original strap, that's what it actually comes with, guys. It actually comes with this vulcanized rubber. As you can see, I've opted out to swap it to my own strap, and I think it looks the bee's knees. But as you can see, the footprint of the watch, it looks amazing on the wrist. It's 38.5mm. It pretty much wears like a 39mm. The lug-to-lug distance of 46.9, no-brainer. And I tell you what, that's 1000 meter water resistance or 100 atmospheres. And that is only 12.9mm to the top of that sapphire crystal. So it's been enjoyable in that regard. Now, if I turn the watch over, you can see you got a solid case back with all of its specs, 100 atmospheres. And behind that case back, the watch features a Swiss SOP rod P024. It's basically a clone of an ETA 2024. Around 38 hours power reserve, and this particular one has been running at about plus 9 seconds per day. Now, having a close look at that bezel, it's a 120 click unidirectional bezel. As you can see, it's got a stainless steel insert with a loom pip, an inverted triangle at the top. And the action, have a listen. Easy to turn, just the right amount of movement in its tolerances, and it lines up beautifully. Next, if I look at the side of the watch, you can see there's a helium escape valve. And the way it's integrated into the case side, you don't even know it's there. So being rated at 1000 meters, the watch also allows for saturation diving. Now, one of the little details that I like is the radial brushing on the case. If you notice on the lugs and on the case, it's radially brushed all the way around. It's not your standard up and down brushing. They've actually thought this through and offered a very nice, highly polished bevel as well as polished flanks. So little nuances like that show me a good attention to detail. Now, the crystal on this watch is a single dome sapphire. And for me, that's a bit of a question mark because on their website, it says that the crystal is a flat sapphire. And I'll tell you what, I wish it was. Because having a single dome on this, it will occasionally pick up different types of reflections as well as distortion at an extreme angle, as you can see. Now, you don't get full washout, but the reflections and the distortion is present, so bear that in mind. Now, I did mention that I use my own vulcanized rubber strap on this watch because I'll show you guys something. This is another question mark for me. If you notice that the straps themselves, the keepers, they're quite pronounced here on top. And I don't have an issue with that because they're quite pronounced here. But what I do have an issue with is if you turn it upside down, they're also pronounced here. And these things here, both these keepers have been digging into my skin every time I put the watch on. They shouldn't be that pronounced underneath the strap. And in comparison, if I show you this orange one, that is relatively smooth and that is rough. So the top is rough, but the bottom is smooth. So ideally, the bottom of those keepers should have been smooth. Now it's not anything you can't fix. You can easily put this on some sandpaper or something and just rough it down, but shouldn't have to do that, guys. So that's a big question mark for me to Nivada. Why? And if anyone's reviewed this watch and they've tried it on with this strap, I can't understand why they haven't mentioned that, because that is really annoying. But moving on, if we have a look at the lume of the watch, there's a slight yellow hue in normal daylight. It's aged Swiss Superluminova. Now for some reason the handset and counterbalance on that second hand is a blue lume when I shine my UV light, and the markers, Arabics and inverted triangle are green. So there's two different types of lume at play here, and again I wish they really would have gone with just the green, because the handset doesn't seem to last as long as the rest of the watch. And lastly, the price of the watch comes in at $995 US, exclusive of taxes. Now, for me, that's a tad on the higher side, but in the watch's defense, it is a 100 atmosphere or 1000 meters rated water resistance. Not that you'd ever be able to test that anywhere ideally, but just mentioning that. And if I look at their website with the limited edition version, which had the original dials and an ETA movement, they were going at $3,000. There was only 10 of those, they're all gone. So ideally these coming in at around $995 look a lot more palatable than the limited edition version. And on that note, what are my gripes of this watch? Well, the elephant in the room is that crystal for me. I just have to ask why. I love the watch, love the look of the watch. I really wish this had a flat sapphire. I just think you would have had a cleaner look with less reflections and less distortion. Next gripe, obviously as you know, that lume. The handset really needs to step up in this department. The Arabics and markers seem to be great, but that handset really does fall behind. Another gripe was that vulcanized rubber strap. The feel of the rubber is absolutely fantastic. I love it. It's exactly the same as that. There's no difference. It's really good. But those keepers, yeah, they really need attention. So if you're keen on getting the watch on this strap, just make sure you go to the local hardware store to get yourself a bit of a file or some sandpaper just to wear that down. Now all that said, what did I like about this watch? Well, the watch does offer drilled lugs, and I really like that. For strap changes, especially for this strap, I don't have quick release spring bars, so drilled lugs make it a lot easier for me to get straps on and off. Next thing I loved about the watch, the size. Coming in at 38.5mm, it's a cushion case, it looks like a baby Panerai. The wearability has been great, especially with a case height. It's been a real pleasure. I like the vintage look and the design of the watch. It's pretty much an identical replica of the original watch that they made back in the day, back in the 60s. The movement has also been a delight in this. I know it's a sop rod, but the winding experience, the resistance is absolutely superb, really nice. The action of that crown has also been fantastic. The winding experience, the latch down experience, it actually feels Swiss quality, if that makes sense. So a very nice package from Nivada. I am a sucker for orange. It's a gorgeous looking watch in my eyes, not without its flaws. The things that I mentioned I would personally have loved to see changed. But I suppose you can't have your cake and eat it, and nothing's perfect in life. And I think it's the imperfect things that makes things a little bit quirky and special, give the watch its characteristic feel. So hit me up in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think of this watch. Let me know what you think of orange on orange. Am I crazy for putting an orange strap on an orange watch? Thanks again for watching. Be well, be safe, enjoy the watch that's on your wrist, and we'll see you in the next one.